Welcome back to another episode of NBA by Jellyman, episode 16, week 14 review coming up, team and player consistencies as per usual, deep dive into teams who have taken a plunge, but also ascended across the last week or so, and then a look at the week 15 preview. But we'll jump straight into it with obviously the week 14 review. So heading back to last week, we've got it was Tuesday, the 17th of January. We had the Celtics beat the Hornets 130 to 118. Tatum had 51 points. No Jaylen Brown on that one, so obviously Tatum had plenty of the ball. The Bucks beat the Pacers 132 to 119. Drew Holiday, a huge game on his way to a huge week. 35 points and 11 assists. The Cavaliers beat the Pelicans 113 to 103 in Cleveland. Garland had 30 points and 11 assists. Big J Val, 22 points and 13 rebounds. The Raptors beat the Knicks in overtime, 123 to 121. It really did look like the Knicks ran out of legs towards the back end of the game, and Van Vliet carried the Raptors home there. The Warriors beat the Wizards in Washington, so a road win for the Warriors, making them 5-17 on the road this season. It was a bit of a pool party, as the analysts like to say. 32 points for him. Big KP had 32 points as well. The Hawks beat the Heat in Atlanta 121 to 113. Butler, 34 points. DeJounte Murray, 28 points on the way to a big week as well. The Jazz beat the Wolves in Minnesota 126 to 125. Big Kessler had 20 points, 21 rebounds. Edwards, 29 points there. The Grizzlies thumped the Suns 136 to 106. And obviously the Grizzlies just lost to the Suns by 2 points today after going down early. Bane had 28 points. Mikal Bridges, 21 points in that one. Last but not least, the Lakers beat the Rockets 140 to 132. A very, very high-scoring game. Big Sengun, 33 points, 15 rebounds and 6 assists. LeBron, 48 points, 8 rebounds and 9 assists there. That was all the way back last Tuesday. We got Wednesday now. The Bucks beat the Raptors 130 to 122. Van Vliet, another big game, 39 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Drew Holiday, 37 points there. The Spurs beat the Nets 106 to 98. Claxton, 15 points and 11 rebounds for the Nets. Simmons was in foul trouble. Keldon Johnson, 36 points and 11 rebounds there. The Nuggets beat the Blazers 122 to 113. Lillard, 44 points. The Big Joker, 36 points, 12 rebounds and 10 assists. And then the Sixers beat the Clippers in LA 120 to 110. Embiid had 41. Kawhi, 27 points. He's really starting to hit back into form there. The Wizards beat the Knicks in New York 116 to 105. Kuzma 27 and 13. Loves to show out in New York. Brunson 32 points in that one. The Hawks beat the Mavericks in Dallas 130 to 122. Christian Wood 22 points. DeJounte Murray 30 points. As we said, he's having a big week. The Hornets beat the Rockets 122 to 117 to extend the Rockets' losing streak and to break the Hornets' losing streak to get them back on the winners list there. Rozier 26 points. Green 41 points in that one. The Grizzlies beat the Cavs 115-114. Bane had 25 points, Garland 24 points and 14 assists. Adams had the tip-in win, and then Brooks had the defensive play on that one. The Heat beat the Pelicans 124 to 98. Bam 26 and 8. CJ 21 points. The Thunders beat the Pacers 126 to 106. In OKC, Dort 22 points there. The OKC Thunder have been playing very well of late, almost back to 500. Actually, they could be back to 500 after a win today against the Nuggets. The Clippers lost to the Jazz 126 to 103 in Utah, marking 34 points and 12 rebounds. The Nuggets beat the Wolves 122 to 118. Joker, another triple-double, 31, 11, and 13. And then the Kings beat the Lakers in LA 116 to 111. Fox 31, LeBron 32 points there. Friday, the 20th of January, the Bulls beat the Pistons in Paris 126 to 108. DeRozan, after his quad strain, comes back with 26 points. Bogdanovic, 25 points there. The Celtics beat the Warriors 121 to 118. Tatum, 34 points and 19 rebounds. Curry, 29 points there. The Wolves beat the Raptors 128 to 126. Kyle Henderson almost had a triple-double, 20, 10, and 6. Big Scotty Barnes, 29 points and 8 rebounds. The Suns beat the Nets 117 to 112. Ayton, 24 points and 14 rebounds. Kyrie, 30 points there. The Sixers beat the Blazers 105 to 95. Joel, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. Dame, 25, 6, and 11. Saturday's games, we had the Magic beat the Pelicans. The Hawks beat the Knicks 139 to 124. Another high scoring game for the Knicks. The Knicks, without Robinson in the middle of late, haven't been defending as well as they had been with him in the squad. Randall, 32 points, 9 rebounds and 6 assists. DeJounte Murray, 29 points, 6 rebounds and 12 assists. The Warriors, they beat the Cavs in Cleveland without Curry, Green, Wiggins and Thompson, 120 to 114. Ty Jerome had 22 points. Poole had 32 points. Garland for the Cavs had 31 points and 9 assists. Surprising there, least to say. The Mavericks beat the Heat 115 to 90. Doncic had 34, 12 and 7. Bam, 18 and 11. The Clippers beat the Spurs 131 to 126. Kawhi's best game of the season, 36 points there. Keldon Johnson, another 23 points. The Nuggets thumped the Pacers 134 to 111. Jamal Murray, a triple-double, 17, 10 and 14. Obviously, Joker out. A lot more ball for Murray. Nets beat the Jazz in Utah 117 to 106. Kyrie, a huge game. 48 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Clarkson, 29 points as well. The Lakers beat the Grizzlies 122 to 121. Now, this one's a good one to talk about. Not sure who watched it or if you did watch it, but Bane had the ball with, I want to say, 7 seconds left. The Grizzlies were up by 2, all of it up by 2. And then he gets the ball stripped. And not only that, he goes back down and fouls Schroeder. Schroeder makes the layup, 2 points, game tied. And then he obviously hits the go-ahead basket. And the Grizzlies lose. So that's that one there. Quite a bit of a shock loss. We obviously needed the Grizzlies to win. Kings beat the Thunder 118 to 113. Murray had 29 and 14. That's young Keegan Murray. And then SGA, 37 points there. Now, Sunday's games saw the Celtics beat the Raptors 106 to 104. Jaylen Brown, 27 points. Siakam, 29, 9 and 10. The Wizards beat the Magic 138 to 118. Rui Hachimura had 30 points and Fultz 23 points. The Hornets beat the Hawks 122 to 118 with no ball and Oubre Jr. Rozier 34 points. Trae Young 25 and 12. The Cavs beat the Bucks 114 to 102. Drew Holiday another big game, 28 points, 10 assists. Evan Mobley 38 points and 9 rebounds. The Wolves beat the Rockets 113 to 104. Edwards had 44 points and 2 highlight dunks on Sengun. Sengun had 19 points, 16 rebounds and 7 assists. He really is starting to chase Joker for how they play. Very similar with that pivot foot down, making plays for teammates, though no look passes, everything like that. Obviously, we're not comparing him to Joker, but a very similar type sort of stat line as well as type of player from that European background. The Suns beat the Pacers 112 to 107. Okogie had 24 and 10. TJ McConnell a triple-double, 18, 10 and 12. And then the Sixers beat the Kings without Embiid and Harden 129 to 127. Tyrese Maxey 32 points. De'Aaron Fox 31 points in that one. Last but not least, Monday's games, so today's games for us. Clippers beat the Mavericks 112 to 98. Kawhi 30 and 9. Doncic 29 and 10. The Heat beat the Pelicans 100 to 96. The Raptors beat the Knicks 125 to 116. Julius Randle almost triple-double at 23, 19 rebounds and 8 assists. Obviously, with Robinson at the moment out, Randle's taking on a lot more boards. The Thunder beat the Nuggets in Denver 101 to 99. SGA 34 points. Murray 26 and 9. Obviously, no Joker in that one. The Suns beat the Grizzlies 112 to 110. It was actually 62 to 37 at halftime. But then the Grizzlies fought back into it but couldn't get the win at the end. A couple of late whistles that didn't come for them. Morant, 27 points, 8 assists. Paul, in his return, 22 points and 11 assists. The Nets beat the Warriors in Golden State with no KD. Kyrie had 38 points. They won 120 to 116. Curry only 26 points. Thompson and Wiggins were very, very average. And the Lakers beat the Blazers in a topsy-turvy game, 121 to 112. The Lakers went up early by 14. The Blazers then had a 45 to 13 second quarter. The Lakers then had a 40 to 20 third quarter, and then a 35 to 21 fourth quarter. So that's how that game went. Very topsy-turvy if you had either of those teams because they were down big, up big, down big, up big. So that's the end of that one. LeBron had another, obviously, big game, and Thomas Bryant 31 and 14, Lillard 24 and 10. But that is the short overview of the Week 14 in review. We'll jump into the team and player consistencies here. Obviously, like to mention with these ones that they will be in the show notes for you use for the week. But last but not least, or cracking straight into it, the Hawks, Young, 25 points in 6 of his last 8, 8 plus assists in 7 of his last 8 games. Obviously, with them having a lot of their players back, they are on the up at the moment. Murray, that's DeJounte, 26 plus points in his last 5 games, and the Hawks have won 5 of their last 6 games. The Celtics, Tatum, 29 plus points in 7 of his last 8 games, and then 8 plus rebounds in 7 of his last 8, and the Celtics have actually won their last 9 games. For the Nets, Irving, 30 plus points in his last 3 games. The Hornets, Rozier, 21 plus points in 5 of his last 6 games. For the Bulls, LaVine, 25 plus points in his last 7 games. Vucevic, 15 plus points in his last 9 games and 10 plus rebounds in his last 10 games. Garland, 21 plus points in his last 4 games, and then also 10 plus assists in his last 4 games as well. Mobley, 17 plus points in his last 6 games. For the Mavericks, Dinwiddie, 19 plus points in his last 5 games, obviously helping Luka out quite a bit. Bogdanovic for the Pistons, 20 plus points in his last 9 games. The Rockets, they've lost their last 13 games. The Pacers, they've lost their last 7 games. Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers, 24 plus points in his last 7 games. For the Lakers, LeBron, 32 plus points in 4 of his last 5 games, 8 plus rebounds in his last 7 games. For the Grizzlies, Bane, 24 plus points in 4 of his last 5 games. Then Morant, 7 plus assists in his last 5 games. For the Bucks, Drew Holiday, 24 plus points in 5 of his last 6 games. Obviously with Giannis and Middleton both out at the moment. Giannis potentially back soon, but Holiday is taking over that offense. Valanciunas, 10 plus rebounds in his last 5 games. For the Knicks, RJ, Randall and Brunson, all 21 plus points. RJ, 21 plus points in his last 4 games. Randall in 5 of his last 6 games. And Brunson in 11 of his last 12 games. Randall's also had 15 plus rebounds in 7 of his last 8 games, as we mentioned. Robinson's out at the moment, so he takes the bulk of minutes from there. Hartenstein does come back in, but Julius is getting a lot more boards there. For the Thunder, they've won 7 of their last 9 games, so obviously on the up at the moment. The Magic, Wagner, 19 plus points in his last 5 games. Mikal Bridges for the Suns, 20 plus points in his last 5 games. For the 76ers, Harden, 11 plus assists in 7 of his last 8 games. Embiid, 30 plus points in his last 6 games. The 76ers actually won all games on their Western road trip, so all 5 of them, so they're coming back home hot. After playing out on the road. The Kings, they also have a few days break as well. The Kings, 23 plus points in his last 6 games. Sabonis, 8 plus assists in his last 6 games. For the Raptors, Van Vliet, 25 plus points in his last 4 games. Trent Jr., 18 plus points in his last 5 games, so consistent backcourt for the Raptors. For the Jazz, Markkanen, 25 plus points in 10 of his last 12 games. Jordan Clarkson, 21 plus points in 5 of his last 6 games. And last but not least, for the Wizards, Kuzma, 21 plus points in 4 of his last 5 games. And also 7 plus rebounds in his last 4 games. So that is a bit of a, obviously, deep dive into the stats for those guys. Looking into topic 3 now, so deep dive into the teams on the rise and decline. So in the Eastern Conference with the Hawks, Heat and Pacers, the Hawks, they've won 7 of their last 10 games, so 7-3 across their last 10. And it's off the back of, firstly, getting healthy, but secondly, playing defense. They've had quite a few high-scoring games, but in saying that, their back-end defense and who they bring off on the bench, obviously having Cabela back, Collins, trade talks also settling down for them as well. They're playing a lot more consistent basketball. They're getting scoring out of both Young and Murray, so not just Young carrying the load or Murray carrying the load. They're both carrying the load. And then DeAndre Hunter's playing better one-on-one defense against the best opposition player. And then they've got that good depth coming off the bench, and AJ Griffin's also playing well. So they are looking on the up currently. The Heat, they're 6-4 across their last 10. They had a close win today, but once again, they're in a similar boat to the Hawks where they're starting to get healthy, and when they do get healthy, they will be dangerous. So it's looking at them and going, okay, as long as they're healthy, can they make a run? And they always tend to make a run towards that back end of the season, especially if they are healthy and looking for that playoff spot. Now on the decline is the Pacers. Now they've lost 8 of their last 10 games. And a lot of those have been without Haliburton, obviously him being injured. Shows how crucial that is he is for that team. So obviously looking at the continuing to drop down just because they have no one running that offense and moving the ball around. And also their shooting has dropped off on the road as well. Looking out west this time, we've got the Kings. They've 7 wins from the last 10 games. They're currently sitting 3rd in the Western Conference. And it's off the back of their shooting. They played a lot of games at home, and they obviously had a bit of a win streak, but they've been consistently scoring a lot of points. And I think I heard them say the other night they've got the 3rd best offensive efficiency in the league. So looking for the Kings to continue to climb. They've got some good bench depth, as well as their shooting is unreal. And then they've got De'Aaron Fox to close the game out, and Sabonis down low grabbing all the boards, but he can also make plays on offense, passing or making baskets. Then we've got second there, the Wolves. They're 7-3 across their last 10. They're currently sitting 8th, but they've jumped up a bit, and they're not even fully healthy. They haven't had Gobert, they haven't had Cat, but they've been playing good, consistent ball, and it seems to be, the 2 stars, Russell and Edwards. But then the shooting around them is playing really well, and the spacing of the floor is looking really good. They've had some easier opposition, but still, you've got to play what's in front of you. The Thunder, they're 7-3 across their last 10 games as well. They're currently sitting 11th, but they've jumped up to 500 now. And obviously looking to potentially make a late run towards the playoffs. I mean, they're not tanking anymore. They've got the players they need. They've got SGA, they've got Dort, they've got Giddy, they've got obviously Big Holgram, who's sitting out this season, but he'll come back next season. So they've got the players there to potentially, upset a few teams throughout the rest of the season and potentially grab a late play-in spot and be better for the experience. But we'll see how they fare after the All-Star break. The Lakers 6-4 across their last 10. Now they're in 12th. But what's separating between 6th and 12th is not a lot of games. So if they can maybe string a few more wins together, like they did against Portland, and they've had a lot of close losses as well, so they're right in games. LeBron obviously playing the way he does, and as soon as they get AD back across the next week or so, they'll be a lot better once again. The Pelicans 3-7, and they're still in 4th, but obviously they have, without Ingram, without Zion at the moment, CJ's having to do a lot more, Valanciunas having to do a lot more, and then the guys who are 3-D guys are trying to do a lot more as well, and it's not working as well for them. So look for them to continue to drop until Zion and Ingram are back in the fold there. And then last but not least, the Blazers, they're 2-8 and 13th at the moment. They had a really good start to the season. Dame went out for a bit, and Lillard's playing excellent basketball, but their problem isn't scoring, it's defending. They seem to attack Lillard on the defensive end, and then also Simons. So the backcourt of Lillard and Simons, although they can score the ball, yes, they aren't the best one-on-one defenders. And with guys like Luka in the league, and in the Western Conference, you got your LeBron, you've even got Fox and Sabonis, you've got Kawhi and PG. When they come up against those guys, they just can't hold them defensively, and they don't really have a good rim protector. Nurkic, although he's a big body down low, he can't move laterally very quickly, which means guards and small forwards could get past him with ease and get to the basket. Jeremy Grant's obviously a good wing defender, but takes more than one on that side to defend a whole squad of 5. So we'll see how they trend towards the back end of this season. But we can't see them shifting up too much unless they improve heavily defensively. That's a bit of a deep dive, though, into the rise and decline of a few teams. We'll be watching that up to the All-Star break. Obviously, 3.5-4 weeks to the All-Star break. Obviously, a very cautious time because players tend to zone out for a bit. So just sort of watching those numbers drop or increase across the next couple of weeks. And it's also an important period for teams who need wins as well. Topic 4, NBA Week 15 preview. So Tuesday, we've got 7 games of basketball on the 24th. And we're looking at the Hawks at the Bulls, the Spurs at the Blazers, and the Grizzlies at the Kings. Obviously, the Hawks and the Bulls is the big one. The Hawks in good form. The Bulls coming back from Paris after a few days break and a bit of travel. The Spurs and the Blazers, obviously we just talked about the Blazers, but the Blazers need that win. The Grizzlies at the Kings. The Grizzlies coming off a back-to-back. Sacramento coming off a loss against the Sixers. That'll be an interesting matchup there. Obviously, Fox and Morant, Bane also into the fold, and then Sabonis down low. So the Kings also don't have much rim protection as well, so that's Ja Morant licking his lips as long as he plays tomorrow. Wednesday the 25th, we've got 7 games. The Celtics at the Heat is one to watch. So Boston traveling to Miami. How healthy are Boston going into that one? The Cavs at the Knicks, and then the Clippers at the Lakers. obviously the LA Showdown's always a good one. And both of those teams are actually right in the middle of the pack at the moment. They're actually both sitting on, the Clippers are 25 and 24, the Lakers are 22 and 25. So very similar records, or a couple games between them. Thursday, we've got 10 games of basketball. So a big day there. The Nets at the Sixers, Nuggets at the Bucks, Hawks at the Thunder, Grizzlies at the Warriors, Jazz at the Blazers. And the Nets at the Sixers, that's a big one because as long as Harden's healthy, him and Kyrie will face off. The Nuggets at the Bucks, obviously Denver, is Jokic healthy enough to play against? Is Giannis healthy enough to play against each other? So that'll be an interesting one as long as they both play. Hawks at the Thunder, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray versus SGA and Giddey. Very interesting there. And the Grizzlies at the Warriors is one to watch, potentially, the back and forth those teams have had across the last couple of years, the respect they have one another. The Grizzlies are the up-and-comers. The Warriors, obviously that dynasty, potentially coming to an end. Probably not, but it's towards that back end of it anyway. The Jazz, the Blazers are the other one to watch. Obviously, we've talked to the Blazers already, but they've got some crucial games, especially being at home. This could make or break their season, this sort of homestand they have. Friday, the 27th, we've got 6 games. The Knicks at the Celtics, always interesting one to watch. The Mavericks at the Suns, that replay from last season's playoffs, and the Spurs at the Clippers once again. Kawhi versus San Antonio is always interesting to watch. Saturday, the 28th, the 5 games. Grizzlies at the Wolves, Cavs at the Thunder, and then Raptors at the Warriors. Sunday sees us have 11 games. Nuggets at the Sixers, Knicks at the Nets, Knicks at the Nets, Clippers at the Hawks, Kings at the Wolves, Lakers, Celtics, Mavericks at the Jazz. And then Monday, last but not least, we've got the Clippers, the Cavs, and Pelicans at the Bucks with 4 games on that Monday. That's topic 4 anyway. Obviously, we have a bit more information, and obviously looking out throughout the week on Instagram or TikTok, NBA by Jellyman, Sports Tips by Jellyman, as we post up daily stats. So, we've got Trae Young plus 8+ assists across 6 of his last 8 games or whatever it might be, and we post up a bit of a reel there. So have a look for that day to day. I usually try to get up in the afternoon, prior to about sort of 6-7 o'clock, depending on what's going on. But feel free to have a look at those ones. Topic 5, example day, Wednesday the 18th of January. Saw us hit Ben Simmons 10+ assists against the Spurs, 255, 1.5 units. Then we had the Blazers and the Nuggets. Denver Nuggets minus 5.5, 186, 3 units on that one. Little 35+ points, 290. 1.5 units on that one. The 76ers, 210, 3 units against the Clippers. So obviously underdogs against the Clippers. 30+ points for Embiid and Leonard as well. 250 paying 1.5U. That had +6 units for that day. Last but not least, topic 6 is best bets for Tuesday, the 24th. We actually might take you through what we set up for Tuesday, the 24th, and day-to-day for our guys. So what we've got here is, so we do like a preview and insights, then key player stats and consistency. So we do this for each game. So with the Bucks at the Pistons, we'll have the Bucks 29-17 and 11-12 on the road. They lost to the Cavs 102-114 in Cleveland last time out. And then the Pistons 12-36 and 6-17 at home. They lost to the Bulls last time out 108-126. That one was in Paris. So there are a bit of the stats, and the insights are the Bucks beat the Pistons 110-108 in Milwaukee, and the Bucks beat the Pistons 116-91 in Milwaukee on the 3rd of the 11th. But then also we've got key player stats, so Holiday, points, assists, and then Holiday versus Detroit 26, 25, 10, 29, 22, 21 points. He's also had 24+ points in 5 of his last 6 games there. And then we jump into sports bet here, or Bet365 or Nets or whoever you like to use. Sort of see the Bucks away are minus 11.5, which we don't specifically like because it's so high, but there's also not a lot of the teams out yet. Giannis is scheduled back in tomorrow. His over-under is actually at 28.5 points. He might be on a minutes restriction though, so I'd look out for that one. Drew Holiday over 22.5 points there. He would be our pick for the day. Maybe potentially putting him in a daily multi for 20+ points with a couple other players there. Looking to the next game, the Boston Celtics versus the Orlando Magic. We obviously have all the preview, insights, and key player stats there. The Celtics are minus 7.5 or 132 head-to-head. It currently has just Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum for the points. I'd be looking at Tatum and Brown's assists over. No Marcus Smart, no Malcolm Brogdon listed. That means that these two guys have to take over the game, both with their passing, rebounding, and scoring. So looking at Tatum and Brown's assists over could be a good little winner there. Also, Franz Wagner points over in this one with little to no rim protection if Robert Williams doesn't play. It's at 19.5 at the moment. He's had 19 plus points in his last 5 games there. Next game on the list is the Timberwolves at the Rockets. So the Timberwolves minus 6.5. I'll be looking at that line there. But currently they've only listed D'Angelo Russell and they've listed Anthony Edwards in there. D'Angelo Russell's actually had 22 plus points in 5 of his last 6 matchups playing against the Rockets. So I'll be looking at Russell's points there. His 20 plus points at the moment is paying $2, but if you look at 21.5, a bit around that 275 mark, 260 mark there. Next game, Atlanta Hawks versus the Chicago Bulls in Chicago. 198 Atlanta, 186 Chicago. Obviously, Chicago coming off that not road trip, but extended flight to Paris to play the Pistons. But they potentially should be well rested. LaVine over 25.5 points. Also Vooch. You've got DeJounte Murray over 21.5 points. I'd be looking at his 25 plus points. That's paying 165. And then also Trae Young assists. Both these teams like to score against one another. So a few player points in that one there. Charlotte Hornets at the Utah Jazz. The Hornets are 348 and the Jazz are 131. I would be having a look at Markkanen's points over, which is over 26.5 at the moment. Or Conley's assists, currently sitting at 7.5. Clarkson's at over 22.5. Potentially a 20 and 25 point combo there, but it depends who's healthy for the Charlotte Hornets. They do like to give up a lot of points as well. The San Antonio Spurs at the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers line is minus 9.5. We can't really trust the Blazers at the moment, seeing how they played, but they should really win that one. They also haven't listed any of their players as of yet, so there's not much there. But Keldon Johnson over 21.5 points could be a good winner there. It depends, most likely to get Jeremy Grant as a defender, but just depending who's healthy there for the Blazers. Last but not least, the Memphis Grizzlies at the Sacramento Kings. The Grizzlies are 188, the Kings are 196. Some stats here. Fox is actually 23 plus points in his last 6 games, but he's had 19, 32, and 27 points in his last 3 matchups versus the Grizzlies. And then Jar has had 35 and 34 points in his last 2 matchups. And Desmond Bane is probably our pick. 31, 28, and 24 points there in his last 3 matchups. And then also 24, 16, 25, 28, 25 points in his last 5 games. So Desmond Bane at the moment over 21.5. Potentially having a look at his 25 plus points, 245 on Sportsbet. That could be a good little winner there. In terms of the head-to-head, it just really depends who's healthy. King coming off a loss, the Grizzlies coming off back-to-back losses. Both will be hungry for a win. But that is all for this evening. Thank you for listening in. As always, we will have the stats and insights in the show notes. And then also, if you are interested in subscribing or following on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those specific areas, our subscription packages are weekly $19.99, monthly $39.99, and annual $199. Head to jellyman.co. Sports tips by Jellyman on all good platforms and social media feeds. But that is all for this evening. Thank you for listening in and happy punting.